final question is that any other blockers that you have faced while trying to use the system to implement in your community around communication, and any other blockers that you face? So let's start it off with John.
So some of these we've already talked about or implied. Blockers. Let me just challenge us. Okay, this is a great tool, and how can we even use this tool to make it better? There's the new owner welcome and initiating new owners and getting them up and getting them launched. Very critical. Hello, you've just made a big decision. You've closed escrow. You've spent a lot of money, and welcome to paradise. Okay, and we lead with Condo Control Central and our website, because that spills into getting engaged in the financial relationship and all the information and the vendors and service providers that they might need as an owner. So, the get-go, the relationship at launching new owners is a challenge. The other one is database cleanliness. We live and we die by our databases. And again, we have to get our databases correct. And if we have those correct, they'll be owner serving. And so we always struggle to get the right addresses, especially email addresses. We have to keep our files in our Condo Control website fresh. If we have old data and no new data, if we only have old minutes or old meetings and nothing new, that's a turnoff. Okay, that tells people that we don't care about. So we have to spend time making sure that our library is fresh. To Mark, we have what I would call the intermittent or lazy owner. Oh, how do I get on to Condo Control Central? I lost my passcode. It's like, hey, I want to fly Delta Airlines. If you want to fly Delta Airlines, you got to figure out how to get your own ticket these days. Nobody can buy a ticket for you, and I'm not going to. We look at our database when we send out these push emails. We always see, we can get 80-90% readership of our e-blasts. We can see the same 5 or 10 owners or residents, they never read it, okay? And then it manifests itself in a problem. So we're always struggling, and to end it, here's the solution that we have. We're in constant improvement mode. You have a great platform. We're constantly improving it. We have come to the conclusion we have two owners here at our HOA who are what we call EGR, extra grace required. And they're kind of a lost cause. And so what we're doing to them is we're trying to convince them to sell their unit at our HOA and move to Toronto and move into Mark's place, okay? So that would make our life perfect. And that's the end of my answer.
Thank you, John. And now on to Mark.
I would, John touched on a couple of important things there. I would say, as we've said, the barriers, we've kind of touched on those already. For me, for here at this site, it's language and some technology barriers. And when I say technology, I mean fear of the technology. Condo Control is so simple and easy to use. John mentioned the app earlier. The app is something we haven't even promoted at this site. Like I say, I've only been here for 8 months. So it's the other thing John said I will build on is constant improvement. So going forward, one of the things I'll be doing is introducing the app to the owners and mentioning it, because I don't think a lot of them even are aware that it exists. And just constantly trying to educate them and using it more and more all the time. The other thing I wanted to touch on that John mentioned that is vitally important is the accuracy of your database. And from the day I started here, my assistant is the person that sort of manages that. I think Greg mentioned earlier, in Ontario, we have a lot of different things we have to send out. And we found out very early on that there was a lot of outdated information here. Now we do get a lot of turnover at this building because we have a lot of university students and we have medical professionals that are coming and going. They're here for 6 months or something like that, doing training or that sort of thing. And I made it very clear that it is extremely important that the database is always up to date, because if we're sending out information and nobody's getting it, then what's the point? It's not going anywhere. So that is probably one of the number one things, is making sure that database is accurate and making sure that, reach out to your community from time to time and remind them, please just check in, make sure all the information is correct. Do we have your right phone number, your email address, all of that information? Who's actually living there? Is it you? Is it your son or daughter? A tenant? All of that thing. And in Ontario, there's they're required to inform us if there is a tenant and all of that information. But database accuracy is vitally important. So if you're taking this on, that's I would say one of the number one things you have to get right.
Yeah, thanks for the answers. And just to add a little bit on that, so Counter Control, we do have certain templates that you can use as flyers, you can use for security to get your residents to provide such information. So if you want to get a hang of those templates, you can contact your customer success manager.